Luke Shaw's
It's
a whore.
happening. It's happening.
I like
Nice.
the music.
Nice save.
It throws me off. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't have a hat on, and then I realize
I know.
it's
We
recording.
have to we really have to discuss our hat wearing alternate. Like we can't both wear a black hat at all times and be like,
I don't. All I have is a black hat, bitch. So
I know, me too. I don't wear anything. I'm a black hat bitch.
Looks like you have a nice scarf on, but I guess that's just your hoodie. I was like, oh, he looks so sophisticated in a scarf.
Jeffrey.
And then you moved and it was not a scarf at all.
No. Hi. You know, my entire wardrobe is black t-shirts. I've gotten rid of everything else now. Yeah. No, same shit.
So we buried the lead. Hi everyone, and welcome to What Happened Was. It's been a long time since we've been together, but the three of us are back together and reunited, and it feels so good. I must say, it's lovely to be spending time with these two crazy coconuts. They light up my life. They give me hope, etc., etc.
Something else.
Well, look. And now I can say that I have met you both in the flesh. Like it's not this random internet thing now. We've both had drinks together. Yeah. It's been good times.
We go way back now.
I was like, yeah, I'll be back over it anytime. So what we are going to talk about today, because I
don't know.
I've been recently doing a fair bit of traveling. Katrina A Johnson is constantly on the go traveling. Jeffrey's just done an amazing amount of driving. We're going to talk travel horror stories, because it is that time of year where people are traveling to their families and all that kind of stuff, and stepping into situations where you may not necessarily be ready for, and be getting all kind of fucked up. So I'm actually going to start. Be ready for this one. So, leaving Jeffrey Emmett's house recently in Auburn. Ah, lovely. We had a great time. It was lovely to be there with everyone.
Liar.
And I had a great time. We get to Syracuse Airport. I'm like, this is going to be great. Chris and Brooke had left a couple of hours earlier, and then Jeffrey had come back and then come to pick up Luke, myself, and his daughter. And we're like, oh, great. We're going to be there for our, I think, 9 a.m. flight. Not so much.
It was not a 9 a.m. flight.
9 a.m.
turned.
Wait for it. Oh. 9 a.m. turned to 10 a.m.
Okay.
At 11 a.m. At 12 p.m. At 1 p.m. At 2 p.m.
Oh, shit.
We finally got on the plane at 3:45 in the afternoon, when we were supposed to be arriving in LA. So we then flew from Syracuse to LA, to JFK, which was fine. They're like, it's foggy. I'm like, how foggy could it be? And then we go off the plane like, oh, it's foggy.
Crazy. It can get crazy.
It is foggy as a bitch out here. But because we had, been delayed so much, they had to rebook us on different flights.
No.
Oh my God. So luckily Luke and Buffy were together, because obviously they're same surname. They didn't have allocated seats, but I got a seat allocated to me straight away. I went, that's weird. I wonder why that is. They're a solo traveler. Whatever. No. I was in the second back row of a plane.
Oh no.
Between an old woman and a younger guy, and I am not a small person, so I was in the middle seat, which was great. I spent the whole flight. I spent the whole 5 hours like this, trying not to touch each other. But we get up there, and the guy next to me starts like twitching a little bit. I'm like, okay, must be nervous. No, he had like a tick. His leg did not stop moving the entire 5.5 hours we were in the plane. So he was banging on one side, and then we hit turbulence like a motherfucker. And turbulence is usually okay unless you're at the back of the motherfucking plane. And I was like, oh, okay, that's rough. The woman next to me started drinking when the flight took off, and she did not stop drinking. Grandma was litty like a titty. Grandma was all about that life. I knew it was serious when she grabbed her drink and grabbed the side of the chair and went, whoa! Like I was like,
let me save this. Whoa!
Yeah, it got to the three. It like literally got to the three. Like we'd be fine for a while, and then we'd hit turbulence. I'm like, oh, and we got to the 3.5 hour mark, and I was like, you know what? I probably wouldn't care if this plane went down at this point, because by the time we got to LAX, got our bags. We had thankfully booked a transfer because and he was like, we're just updating. He was like, oh, cool, I'll go home. He was the nicest guy. It was so good. It was so nice about it. We checked into our hotel at 12:15 a.m.
Oh.
To go to Disneyland at 8 a.m.
Oh, that is rough.
That is rough as a motherfucker, but I did get $125 flight credit from JetBlue.
What?
Yeah. Yes. I'm like, I'm not from here. I randomly looked at the email like $125 flight credit. I'm like,
you should
be
probably
paying.
fought that with your credit card company and got.
I should be like, you should be paying for my flight for the nearly whole day that I missed in LA because of fucking everything. But by the time I got to the hotel, it was like, I'm like, okay, there's a hotel room, there's a bed, and it's one of the
right now like a dive.
Oh, dude, it was one of those old hotels across the road from the park that they've refurbished. Which was fine. It was clean. The bed was comfortable. It was all good. But I requested a king size bed because I usually come with 2 separate ones. But that's all that was in the room.
No other furniture?
There was no couch. There was no chairs. No nothing. There was just a big space where the other bed obviously was, and then my bed and the bathroom. I'm like, interesting. I love this for me.
Okay.
But Jeffrey, you'll be very upset to know. Guess what was in that bathroom?
A bunch of pissy towels?
No. What's worse? What do I hate worse than that?
Oh, a shower curtain.
Oh, they followed me all around America. Even in Hawaii, I'm like, why? Why shower curtain? Why? But yeah, that was that was an interesting moment for me. I do have another horrible flight delay story, but I figure someone else can tell me something horrible that's happened to them, whether it be driving, flying, boating.
I have one.
Oh, Kitty, go.
Okay, so I was going to be so nice, and well, okay, here's what really happened. My friend and I decided that we want to go to Greece. We had the week off, and it was in September. So we booked a trip to Greece. And I had this boyfriend at the time, and it was his birthday. So even though I booked the tickets and we were going, we said, oh, hey, we're going to Greece. We're buying you a ticket for your birthday present, even though she and I were already going. I bought him a ticket so that he could feel invited, and it was his birthday present, right? Okay, so he's like, oh, I don't know if I can get my passport renewed in time, blah, 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 blah. I was like, well, you got a week, figure it out, because we're going. And so anyway, we booked these tickets from LA to Paris. And then,
as you do.
Yes. And then we had a short layover, maybe like 2 hours. And then from Paris, we were going to Athens, Greece. So the flight is delayed. and it was mayhem. So we land in Paris, and the airline sends their airline personnel to collect us, run us through the 2-mile trek in the airport in the other terminal. It was very far. It took a shuttle bus. It took a bullet train and like a half a mile or a mile walk with all of our bags, like hoofing it, trying to get to the flight. Well, they made us stay at the bullet train and wouldn't let us get on and keep going because they were waiting for the rest of our group. So even though we knew where we were going and we wanted to go ahead, they wouldn't let us. They said we had to wait. They delayed us. We get to the flight and they close the door right when I get there. Even though I was delayed by their personnel, they would not let me on. Even though I carried on all my bags, I didn't check anything. Like, I was only going to Athens for one night, and I booked an event on this one night. I booked this thing called Dinner in the Sky, where they build an entire restaurant like up in the sky. You're suspended like 100 feet up in the air. And they have Michelin chefs. They strap you in like a roller coaster.
Oh wait, is this that thing? Wait, no, this is that thing that they like pull you up in the crane thing, right? Oh no, that's not okay.
Cool. Oh yeah. Well, I've been wanting to do this for years, and they don't really do them in the US much. So I booked it in Athens as the sun's going down. You're up above everything. You can see the Colosseum. You can see everything. All of these,
Nope.
No? Okay. Well, I booked it and I'm stoked because I've been wanting to do this for years. So I get in there and I missed the whole damn thing because the airline stopped me with the airline employees and the airline wouldn't let me get on the flight. So I threw a fit. Luckily, I booked it all through American Express. And when I threw my fit, American Express refunded the tickets. So that birthday present that I paid for, that was the trip to Greece, was free.
So wait, you all went to Greece, but you only went for one night.
No, we were going to the party places. We were only going to Athens for one night. You have to land in Athens, and it's a bunch of islands. So then we were going to Mykonos for like 5 days because he's a partier and that's the party place. And then we went to Santorini for like photo shoots and beautiful and the views and all of that. So we were like packing it in a week. Like you could spend easily a couple weeks there and go to all the islands. But, we did the most. Except we did not do Dinner in the Sky. But it did have a nice little layover in Paris.
That was the universe's way of telling you, cut that bullshit out, Katrina.
No, the universe was like, I'm going to reward you. You get to stay in Paris, have some champagne, have some caviar, have some truffles, and then you're still going to Greece. You just don't get the Dinner in the Sky.
No.
But
so
I'm getting all my money back.
That's awesome. I have a question though.
Yeah.
How does one go to the bathroom if you need to go to the bathroom during dinner when you're up in the sky?
You don't.
Do they lower everyone down? Do they go? You can't pee for the next however long.
You are up there for like 2 hours. No pee breaks.
Oh, you'd have to really plan your day around that.
You have to. Well, they make you go before they take you.
And what if somebody gets sick?
Yeah.
Then they'll probably lower you down.
Could you imagine you're stuck up there and somebody starts throwing up all over the glass top table?
They probably take you down for that.
Well, it's going to take a minute to get you down as somebody's throwing up everywhere. Just all over.
Oh,
for all of the people who are listening to this, my apologies for Jeffrey's noises.
Yeah, no, it's a soundtrack
be
of
like
his life.
Problem Child 2. You know what I'm saying? When they're at the carnival and they're just throwing up, and then everybody else starts. That's what's going to happen.
That's the worst.
Okay, well, it's not actually a ride. I mean, I don't think people typically get sick. It's a Michelin star.
It can happen. Fuck that. I don't care. It's high up.
There's a lot of variables though. It's like
a stiff wind.
Happens, a stiff wind, like rain. What happens if like a flock of geese, like Fabio? You're like,
You're pretty high up. Are those geese going to be able to fly up that high? I mean, I guess. They do take out airplanes.
oh, yeah, they do. They take out Fabio. It's like it's
Just
not
give me
cute.
They take out Fabio.
A fucking goose just smashes you upside the head.
You're like, I like pate, but this is too fresh. Like, calm down. This
I
is not
wanted a
okay.
duck, but not yeah. I wanted a
Duck
goose.
a l'orange, not duck in my face. It's not okay.
Duck, duck, beak.
Exactly. But like, oh, I can't. I can't remember who told me this story. You know how like the big thing in like I think it was like it must have been the 70s, the 80s was rotating restaurants, revolving restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been, but I think
Jeffrey looks like he's passed out.
I think it was one of my friend's parents. They said they went to the one in Sydney because there was one in Sydney, and they got a bit turned, and she went to the bathroom, but then came out and couldn't find the table because it had moved. So she just walked against the rotation, and she's like, "I'm not going anywhere. I'm not getting anywhere," and like ended up sitting down on the floor, waiting like until the staff because she got dizzy because you know you walk in the wrong way, you turn up, and then she had to sit on the floor, and then someone helped her up back to a table. It's like, could you imagine? Like, yeah, making a great impression. That's lovely. But Jeff, that vomit reminds me of your one of your last trips. Did you have a lovely trip with your children?
Oh,
a
my
road
God.
trip.
Oh no!
The last 2 trips, I swear to God, we're like we're just the puke family, man. On the way back to Missouri, it was like The Exorcist in the hotel room. Tyler's like, he wakes me up, and Gabe was sick. You know, he had the head cold or whatever. So I you know, I'm driving, right? So we stop at a hotel. I get like maybe 2 hours of sleep, and Tyler's like, "Daddy, I got sick." I'm like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Yes." I'm like, "Okay, we'll just go back to sleep," you know? No.
Not that easy.
No, there was a trail of it from his bed into the bathroom, and I'd gotten up and I was the vacuum seal all the clothes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just have a travel bag with all of our change of clothes for us to change into after we shower. So I bring the travel bag in the bathroom, and I'm like, you know, I'm walking down or in the room, and I see and he tried to clean it up, and I'm just like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Like I don't even, because I'm like, you're in a hotel room. What the, how do you even clean this up? You know what I mean? Like I'm like
wait, sorry, I've just been read for filth, and I couldn't remember who told the story.
That was your mother.
That was my mother. And that is my mother.
Oh, your mother got drunk and sat down on the floor?
Sorry, Mum. I was like, I know someone's told me this story.
It makes sense now. I see the family connection.
Getting drunk and sitting down. Yeah, that happens. Sorry, Jeff. Continue. You're in a...
Did Tyler throw up all over the clothes that you guys were going to wear the next day?
Oh, no, it gets worse. So, the bathroom, it's up the walls, up the mirror, the sink's filled with chunks. Like, I mean, the worst you could picture, it's worse than that. And I'm like, I just walk in the bathroom, and I'm just like, oh my God. You know, I've had no sleep. I'm exhausted. I'm like, he's clearly not okay. And so I drop the bag on the floor, and I'm like, how the hell am I going to get this sink unclogged? Like, you know.
So they're going to charge you a lot of money for that if you don't figure it out.
Right. So I'm like, oh God. So I go about cleaning this bathroom, and I'm realizing, what is this? There's like water on the floor. Like, what the hell? Well, finally, when I get done, I've cleaned everything, I've wiped it, I've gone through all the fucking towels. I go to pick up the bag, and it's dripping. And everything in the bag is soaked. No, I don't know if he pissed. I still don't know. I know
Mystery fluids.
he
Yeah.
had like other things going on as well, and and I didn't find that out till later. And he just didn't tell me what was, that everything was happening. Like I think he got food poisoning.
It sounds like Montezuma's revenge out of every end at once.
Yeah.
Now all the clothes in some of it. Oh,
and are in whatever the liquid was all over the floor that I didn't even realize was that far. Yeah.
Oh.
So now there's no clothes for anybody to change into. And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, so that was fun. And then, I'm like getting him up, like, are you okay? And he's like, he's pale as hell. And I'm like, honey, why didn't you tell me you were this sick? He's like, I thought I was okay. Like, you just didn't even know, I'm like, oh, and I felt, it was bad. It was bad.
And then to sit in a car for all those hours in that condition.
Yeah. Yeah. He was fine. Then he was pissed within like 2 hours. Like he was ready to eat. And then he was mad because I was like, we had garbage bags ready and things. And he was pissed because I was like, oh, I think you need to wait a little bit. Like we were prepared. But
let Daddy get you some crackers and a ginger ale.
Oh, I'm like, I don't know about that. But and then we're like, what the fuck is that smell? Like, oh my God. I'm like, Tyler, are you sick? Like what is it? You know what I mean? Like this is like hours into the second day. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I kept spraying my oil. Like, oh.
And what happened, Jeffrey? Did somebody do a little something in there? Something?
Let's just say the next day I was cleaning his sheets.
Oh.
I mean, it just, I'm like, oh my God. Like, and he didn't tell me. Like, the kid, I'm like, you're 9 years old, honey. You gotta tell Daddy when you shit your pants. You can't just, that's something I gotta know, buddy.
That poor car, Jeff.
I need to know. Right. In the first trip we took on it, the 11-year-old threw up all over it. Second trip, the other one shit his pants.
And then we borrowed Jeffrey's car to drive to Salem.
But the day
the day before, what had happened was the day before I think we were on one of our numerous trips to somewhere, Walmart, Kmart, fucking any mart, wherever we were going, Target. And Jeffrey and Brooke are like, oh, we're going to get Starbucks. It's going to be great. Yeah. And I was like, all right, cool. We'll stop at Starbucks first. We had this big plan of what we were going to do. And then all of a sudden, we get to Starbucks. We go through the drive-thru. It's all exciting. And then all of a sudden, we hear this click, click. I heard it happen. I heard click, click, splash, scream. Because Brooke had picked up her Starbucks by the lid, not the cup. So she had given herself a grande coffee enema all through Jeff's car.
Oh, no.
It was great. Like I think she'd even had. I think she might have had a sip of it. So we ended up going back to Jeff's house, and Jeff cleaned it out and whatnot. Next day, Vera, Brooke's husband Chris, Katie McCarthy, me, and Luke are packed in Jeff's car. And we're like, sweet, no worries. We're off. We're driving. We're on a road trip. We nearly died a couple of times because of large vehicles moving onto us. And about halfway there, I'm like, something doesn't smell right. Something does not smell right. And I thought I was the only one smelling it. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's me because I had these Nikes on that were a bit like funky, where like when you sweat into your shoes. Well, I left because I had the same shoes on as Aiden. Like Aiden and I had the same Nikes. It's like, you've got the same shoes as me. I'm like, don't touch them. You're gonna die. Like, so my shoes lived out the front of Jeffrey's and took because it was traveling and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, is it my shoes? Do my feet smell that bad? I'm like, I'm not. I'm a smell person. If I like, if I smell bad, I'm paranoid. Like, so I'm paranoid. Like, we keep getting out of the car, and I'm like, we stop. I think the second time we stopped, I'm like, can anyone else smell that? I was like, yeah, what it is. But like, and we couldn't figure it out, and I'm like, and it was getting because it was cold. Like we had the heat on, and it was getting gradually worse
really
and gradually worse. And there's 6 of us in this car breathing and doing whatnot with no windows open, and we get there, and I joke you not, it smelled like something had died. Like the next morning when we got there, we got unpacked and all that kind of stuff. Like, it really fucking smells in there. The next morning when we opened that door, I went, like, someone has died. I'm like, have we hit something? Have we hit something that's like stuck under the car somewhere? It's not. I was like, it's fucking not my shoes. Like, I was like, I know it's not my shoes. It was, but that death smell. It had to be milk. It had to be.
You know what?
The coffee.
The worst part about this is when they got back and I got in and I smelled it. Okay, it did smell like you would assume something was dead in the car. But now when I and Katrina were in Georgia, something did die. Something did die in my car, and it didn't even smell that bad. I mean, it smelled bad, but it didn't smell this bad.
It was bad, and I bought these because you know how Jeffrey's all like essential oils and like diffusers and whatnot. I bought about 17.
Oh God, those things were terrible.
17 Glade plugins. I'm like,
front. You know what I mean? The artificials. I couldn't.
Oh, it was great. I was like, but it's the only way we could get back.
You could have got some essential oils in the store.
No, I was like, it's the only way we could do that drive without like going.
Did you figure out what it was?
It had to be milk, right? Because it doesn't smell like that anymore, right?
No.
Well, that's because the body already disintegrated.
Somebody's fucking punani has up and died in that car,
like,
and we don't know.
The car has been puked on, shit on, had a dead mouse.
Oh no! Actually, I nearly pissed myself in that car on the way home too. I was this close, and we didn't stop. And Vera's hitting every bump on that freeway just before you like turn off the steering. I'm like, and everyone's like laughing. I'm like,
hi, Debbie.
You can't like no one look at me, no one talk to me because if it happens, I'm going to literally piss my pants and you're all going to be covered in it. So it's not going to be funny. And we stop at Ghetto McDonald's and I ran. No. I don't run for anybody.
Here I am thinking I'm going to have a nice paid off car and I'm going to keep, the minute that thing's paid off, I'm going to have to go trade it in and get something new because it's going to, I'm not going to have any resale value. It's going to be terrible.
You're going to have to pay them to take it.
I'm going to have to go get it fumigated for all the death smells.
We'll bring a Ouija board and try and contact the spirit of whatever has died in your car.
Sage. I recommend saging.
I'm not even worried about the mice trying to get in it after what the hell happened. I'm just like, it'll be fine. Nothing's going to get in there now.
No, because they'll smell it. You know how things run from the smell of death?
I mean, it really did smell like somebody's vagina died in that car.
It was bad. And I thought that it was this cup of coffee that I found. And I was like, I found it.
Right, yes, because I had a cup of coffee on my way to see you.
And he left it in the hot car for 4 days and it got mold in it. It was rotten. And I found it and I threw it out before he hit the road.
Well, it was the end of it. There was just like the remaining.
But did you not say to us, to me, I don't think you said it to anyone else, I was cleaning out the car before you got here and I found cheese? What did you find?
On the way up, the kids had Lunchables and it was their cheese from the Lunchables from the road trip.
So it could have been a stray piece of Lunchable meat or something as well, because it was a very meaty, decomposing smell.
Could yeah, maybe. No, because I mean,
We would have found
I
it.
was upside down underneath the seat. Look.
The moral of the story
meat
is don't drive somewhere in Jeff's car.
I try to keep people away. I try, to be a loner, and people just keep coming, and this is the punishment.
This is what happens when you spend time with people. They have to want to, like...
Every time I let somebody into my car.
I have a bad
and then the seat still got all the freaking orange tan on it from this bitch who had to go get her spray tan.
I put a towel down.
It's all got spray tan all over it.
Yeah, well, how are you supposed to stoop a Power Ranger if your legs are white?
That can't happen.
Color them in her thighs,
Katrina A Johnson has a flight story, she says.
Yes.
Yeah, let's go.
A travel horror story on an airplane. A friend of mine is a pilot on one of the main airlines. I'm sure you've all heard of it, so I can't say the name, but whatever one of it's that one. Okay. And he was flying home from Miami, and Miami is a big plastic surgery hub. So a lot of girls will fly into Miami and get a BBL, Brazilian butt lift. That is where they suck all of the fat out of your whole body and they put it in your ass. And then they make you look like a Kardashian or J-Lo or something. So they get a lot of girls that can't sit down, and because they just got their butt done. You can't sit down for like a month. So they have these weird pillows and they do all this stuff and try to not sit down, but you got to sit down. It's the law. Sit down and put your seatbelt on. So all of these girls come in with their new butts and they ruin the whole thing by sitting on it 5 hours on a flight home. Anyway, this day, this girl just got her butt done and she was having complications. She got butt implants. So she didn't do the thing where they suck the fat out and sit on it. She had silicone, breast implants put inside her butt. Guess what? As they start to take off and they're going high up in the altitude.
They ruptured. They exploded.
Better. They're expanding and expanding. And the girl's ass is like this. Right? It started out like this and it's getting bigger. She's screaming. She's freaking out and she's like, we need to land the airplane. It's an emergency. And he's like, it's not an emergency. You got your butt done. You shouldn't be on a flight so soon after getting it done. I can't inconvenience 500 other travelers because you decided to get your butt done and not follow the doctor's advice and not travel within 3 days.
Oh my God, but that would hurt too, because if it's swelling, it's stretching inside your body and...
gotta be crazy. Well, I mean, I think things swell when you get implants anyway. So it was probably already swollen. And then it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and
so
bigger.
She went from a J-Lo to a Nicki Minaj moment.
Well,
during flight.
Crazy. So they just, rang the door, the dinger, and said, do we have a doctor on? And 2 doctors came up and gave her a little consultation. And they're like, well, she'll be fine. It's just going to hurt. And they're like, all right. Tally-ho, go forward. And it was like a 4-hour flight. And she was just expanding. What a nightmare can you even imagine?
That's fucked.
Also, you're not allowed to fly if you've just gone scuba diving. Because
you're
all loopy. Also, you shouldn't do it if you just had dental work. If you just got a filling, your fillings will expand, they'll pop out. That happens. People start bleeding and freak out and cry. Also, a big one, a girlfriend of mine had kidney stones. She was drinking too many energy drinks, had kidney stones, and they started growing. They got bigger in the airplane and had an emergency. That was an emergency. She didn't know she had him. She just felt like she was going to die. And she's screaming and crying. And they landed the plane in like Indianapolis. It was supposed to go to Jamaica. Everybody was pissed. And she got like hauled out on a stretcher. That was pretty serious. So yeah, lots of medical emergencies or situations in, you know, on planes. I hear about all of them. But
that's
the butt
horrible.
one was my favorite because that is crazy.
But there's nothing worse than like having any kind of emergency on a plane. I told the story about flying to London on Emirates one time, and I ate something that I shouldn't have eaten. I was like, oh god, because I don't poop on planes.
Well, you had no choice, my friend.
I had no choice this time. I was like literally sitting in the plane. I'm like, all right, there's about an hour and a half till we land. You know, that last hour they're going to put on the thing saying you can't get out of the seat. I'm like, do I sit here and risk it? And risk defecating all over myself on an international flight where I still had to you know, catch a train to my hotel. I was like, no, I had to. I was like, oh, Emirates. Lucky their bathrooms are all right.
Emirates is nice. Yeah,
they got fancy. They got tiled bathrooms and stuff.
We have some ghetto airlines here. I don't know if you guys have Spirit or Frontier.
We do not. We have
know what those bathrooms look like. Good luck.
We have Jetstar, and Jetstar was offering $200 flights from Hawaii to Sydney.
Dang, that's really good.
Yeah, you don't want to fly Jetstar, baby. You get for your $200, you get a seat, and that's it. No food, no beverages. You don't pay for your luggage. Is it like if you want a blanket, you got to pay for it? Like,
how long is the flight from Hawaii to Sydney?
9 hours.
Huh? 9 hours and no food and no drink.
No. It's like going on if you want to fast, I guess you could go on Jetstar. It'd be good.
That's crazy.
Right.
Oh wow. No.
Yeah, so and then they've just had a big issue with, because the planes have been in storage and whatnot over COVID, that they haven't had enough planes. So people have been stuck in Bali for 2 weeks and stuff, like can't get home because there's not enough planes and all that kind of stuff. So you do get what you pay for with that kind of thing. Like, I don't mind paying for.
Yeah, so
that, you know,
basically just
I will arrive.
Get rich, fly on the private jet, come with me.
That's the dream.
And
that's the dream.
You want.
I know. I got my first TikTok check. I put a down payment on the private jet.
Perfect. Because
there's only 726,000 more payments to go.
Yeah, I got some Instagram checks, and let me tell you what I can buy with my Instagram money.
Residuals, making it happen.
I can get no, not residuals, just the Instagram reels, like something that you check. Yeah, they got me enough to fly the budget airline from Hawaii to Sydney.
Cat's coming down under.
Hey, we made more than you got paid from Nickelodeon.
Right, pretty much.
All right. As always, my loves, I have scoured the internet for some other people's horror stories to make us feel a little bit better. So, you ready to hear some embarrassing / funny stories? Okay. Here we go. I was backpacking through South Asia, and one night I ran out of bottled water. I'd been warned not to drink any tap water, but the place where I was staying had a water cooler. So I figured one glass couldn't really hurt, right? I was wrong. I couldn't stop going to the bathroom. We're talking 30 times in a single night, and almost died of dehydration. I feel like that happens a lot. That, like, if they say don't drink the water, baby, don't drink the water.
Well, out of a water cooler.
Don't open your mouth in the shower. Don't eat.
Don't brush your teeth.
Drink things like with ice. People forget about ice.
Ice, yeah.
Ice is made from tap water. Don't use it.
No, that's not good. Here's one that this is one of my biggest fears. An elderly woman died 3 seats away from me on a plane. We were only 1 hour into a 7-hour international flight.
and they just leave her in the seat because what are they going to do with her?
Well, it's not nice to talk about Carrie Fisher that way.
Oh, Jeffrey. But could you imagine, like, it's already bad enough sitting next to complete strangers, then all of a sudden they stop breathing.
You're going to have a dead one next to you?
Oh.
Imagine.
Jeffrey would never get on a plane again. He already hates getting on planes.
I know. Jeffrey
He
would
would never
traumatized.
No, now I'm all freaked out about the kidney stone thing.
Jeffrey doesn't want a giant kidney explosion midair.
Well, no, I'm not worried about dying, but I'm just like, oh, that would suck, because I don't stand up on planes while they're in the air. And if I had a kidney stone attack, I'd have to stand up. Like, the only way to kind of get out of pain is to walk it off. And could you imagine me being like, get the fuck out of my way! I gotta walk!
Yeah, you'd be just like that, yes.
Like Marge Simpson. Let me off! Just up and down the plane.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, just leave me alone. There's some rub in my back. I got a kidney stone. I need to walk. Like, get the fuck out of my way.
Like a pregnant woman.
They'd be like, sir, you need to sit down. It's the fuck. I don't give a fuck about the turbulence, bitch. If I die, I die.
Here's one this one sounds like it might happen to one of us. I spent 6 months in Manila. One night when I'd recently arrived in the Philippines, I was drinking with some friends and got hungry. So I walked down the street looking for some street food that still might be open. Upon one of the alleys, I saw a group of people eating noodles called pancit. They were in a huge bowl and someone was spooning it into styrofoam containers. Wait, pause. I went over and asked how much it cost, but the guy serving the noodles offered me a cup for free with a big smile. I thought he was being extra hospitable because he could tell that I was a foreigner. I ended up hanging out and chatting with the group. They were so friendly. We were just chatting, eating, and drinking beers. Eventually, I had to go to the bathroom. One of the men directed me into the house, and as I stepped into the living room, I saw a dead body. There was an old woman laid out in an open casket. So yeah, that's how I first attended my first Filipino wake.
That's not where I thought this was gonna go.
At all. I thought it was
At all.
Like they
was
fed
like,
him a
that's
dog or something.
bizarre. Imagine crashing someone's wake because you were trashed and hungry. You're like, yeah.
And that's
There's
why you
Grandma.
charge him because he was in a store.
Grandma's just parked it in the lounge room. I know. I feel like the next one could also happen to us.
I crashed.
I was flying to a conference and I was taking my bag through security. The TSA agent took my bag and said she needed to look through it. She pulled out my retractable phone charger, then put the bag through the machine once more. She came back and asked if I had any more electronics in my bag. She was frantically searching my belongings and finally pulled out my bullet vibrator from the front pocket in front of a growing line. My mouth completely dropped because I had no idea it was there. I've never been more embarrassed in my life.
That actually happened to me. This happened to me at the Oakland airport. Oakland is very colorful and full of many well, there's a lot of lesbians at the Oakland airport, okay?
There you go.
One of them was working TSA and she really liked me, and she said something similar, you have any electronics in there? And I was like, no. I put it all out on the bin. She's like, oh, are you sure? I think there's one in there. I was like, no, like my iPad's here, my phone's here. Like, no, it's all in the bin. She's like, okay, security breach, security breach. She goes in my bag, opens up my suitcase, and I was young, and this was my first vibrator. And it was neon blue, scented, and it lit up. Because, like, I don't know. They had all these bells and whistles to make it easier. So she holds it up over my head. Security breach. And it's going. And it's neon blue. And it's going lighting up over my head. And it's me, the lesbians, and a bunch of businessmen. And everyone is staring at me like, what are you doing? And I don't go through Oakland anymore.
Perez, there's a story for you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Katrina A. Johnson from Nickelodeon's All That stopped at Oakland Airport with a blue, vibrating, scented, magical dildo.
What was it scented like, though?
Like when you're a kid and they give you like little beauty
Bubble
kits
gum?
that have like plasticky like perfume in there, like a body spray.
Okay.
That.
Interesting.
Or like
Here's one
that a stripper would wear, or anything that Victoria's Secret. It was like that kind of.
I love it. A flight attendant once threw up on my lap because she drank too much before we took off. I'm pretty sure she got fired, but I was only 11 at the time.
Yes.
Katrina!
It wasn't me. I'm not a puker. I never puke. It wasn't me.
It wasn't me, but look, sometimes shit happens, you know?
And sometimes puke happens in Jeffrey's car.
Sometimes puke happens. Sometimes sometimes a lot of things happen. Sometimes you just try your best to do the good thing for your family and it doesn't work out. Like this family. My family took a vacation to Disney World, which we were all excited about. But my parents got into a huge fight, decided they wanted to get a divorce on the second day of a week-long trip. Ended up being the most awful week of my life. The most magical place on earth, my ass.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Is
Best
that
laid
like
plans.
What happened to you when you did the Hoogie Boogie or whatever it's called?
Oh, look, life is crazy. Life is crazy. That's all I can say. There's one more. Wait, should I? Oh, is there one more? No, that's not funny. That's not funny. That's just a lot of money. Germany, nah. Look, I think that's as bad as. Oh, there's someone else that this sounds like Katrina. I was traveling in Italy with a friend and we missed our last train from Capri for the day. So my buddy suggested we camp out. We searched for a while and found a flat spot off the side of a hill. The whole area was very dark and we fell asleep, but woke up to a dozen or so Italian cops holding machine guns and screaming at us. Apparently, we had set up camp on a hospital helipad, and a helicopter was about to land on us.
Oh, shit!
That's golden. Look, I don't think you can. I know. I don't think you can top that.
No,
like,
that's crazy.
How did...
You'd notice there'd be like reflective things or something somewhere to go, hey, this is where the helicopter lands. This
They're
is
like,
not
oh, it's flat. This is great. Let's go.
They're really dumb, or they have really poor areas for helicopters.
Who knows? But
probably both.
Who can say? Travel is a dream and travel is a nightmare, but it has been a dream catching up with my lovely friends Katrina A Johnson and Jeffrey Emmett today. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, if you have a travel story of your own, we would love to hear it because I love hearing messed up shit that happens to other people. So it gives me something to talk about. So until next time, this has been What Happened Was. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Katrina A Johnson loves her dildos.
I'm still stuck on neon scented dildo. I can't.
And I can't believe it wasn't green.
No.